Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees of the Bhakti Center, today we are going to discuss a very special verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is very sweet, at the same time it is very technical. So let's get started. I will share my screen. This is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 29, verse number 9. Shri Shukdev Goswami is describing to Maharaj Parikshit the beginning of the Rāsa līlā. Rāsa līlā is a divine dance that happens eternally in the spiritual abode of Goloka Vrindavan, and it is the most exalted, the most elevated, the highest form of loving exchange between Krishna and his best devotees, the Vraj Gopis, the Gopis of Vrindavan, the young damsels of Vrindavan. It's a loving exchange between them, filled with divine music, divine singing of the names of Radha and Krishna, the original Sankirtan, that is Rāsa līlā. And our disciplic succession, our acharyas, they are all assistants in the divine Rāsa līlā eternally in the spiritual world. We as members of ISKCON, as followers of Srila Prabhupada, as followers of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Gaur Keshav Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, followers of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. This whole parampara that we have, which comes from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our main service is in the Rāsa līlā and at Radha Kund. Radha Kund pastimes take place in the day and Rāsa līlā takes place at night. In this way, day and night, Aharnisha, day and night, we are engaged in the service of Radha and Krishna. Shri Shukdev Goswami is describing what happened at the beginning of the Rāsa līlā, before the gopis went to the forest of Vrindavan and met with Krishna. Krishna was playing on his flute, attracting the hearts of the gopis. Karashana Venu, Swanaira Gopir, Gopinatha, Shriyastuna. So Gopinath Krishna, Gopijana Vallabh Krishna, Radha Vallabh Krishna is attracting the gopis with the sound of his flute in the middle of the night. And it is Sharat Purnima night when this is happening. So what is happening in different homes to different gopis, that is being described. So let's read verse number 9. Just by hearing the recitation of these holy verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, by reading them, by singing them, we make spiritual advancement. Our hearts become purified. These verses are non-different from the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So verse number 9. Antargriha gata kaschet gopyo labdha vinirgamah Krishnam tad bhavana yukta dadyor militalochana. Antargriha gata kaschet gopyo labdha vinirgamah Krishnam tad bhavana yukta dadyurmilita lochana antargriha gata kasche gopyo labdha vinirgama Krishnam tad bhavana yukta dadyurmilita lochana. Anta griha means within their homes. Griha means house. So inside their homes, gata present, kaschid means some, gopya, the young girls of Vrindavan, the gopis, alabdha. Labdha means to obtain. Alabdha means they could not obtain. What they could not obtain? Vinirgamaha, a way to go to Krishna. They could not find an exit to go to Krishna because the family members stopped them from going to Krishna when Krishna was playing his flute in the forest. Krishnam tad bhavana. Upon Shri Krishna, with great ecstatic love and feelings of deep emotions, yukta means endowed with, dadyu, they did dhyan, they did meditation. Dadyu, they meditated. How? Milita lochana, by closing their eyes. Lochana means eyes and milita means closing. Unmilita means open. Just now in the Mangala Charan, auspicious invocation prayers, we chanted Chakshur Unmilita. Chakshur also means eyes. Unmilita means open. Shri Guru opens our eyes to the light of knowledge of Krishna. And here the word is Milita Lochana. The gopis closed their eyes. Why? Because now they wanted to meditate on Krishna within themselves. With their minds, they wanted to meditate on Krishna. So they shut their eyes to everything external and they went antar. They went inside, internally, and they meditated on Krishna. How? Krishnam tad bhavana yukta. With great feelings of love, they meditated on Krishna. Let us read the translation and the purport. Translation by the humble servants and disciples of His Divine Grace, Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Shri Shukdev Goswami is describing some of the gopis, however, they could not manage to get out of their homes. And instead they remained at home and with eyes closed, they meditated upon Krishna in pure love. In pure love. This tad bhavana means with deep feelings of love. They meditated on who? On Krishna. They meditated on Krishna. They could not go, but they closed their eyes and in their hearts, they were thinking of Krishna. Purport. Now this purport is very sweet, worth meditating upon, but it is very technical. So please stay with me. I will try to, we have much ground to cover and we only have now 17 minutes. So I'm going to go a little fast. So in this purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has been quoted and Srila Rupa Goswami has been quoted. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Sarartha Darshini Tika, commentary on 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, has been quoted. And Srila Rupa Goswami's explanation of this in his book that deals with Madhurya Prem, conjugal love, called Ujjvala Neelamani, that book has been quoted in this purport. So, Srila Rupa Goswami explains, quoting from Padma Puran, that there are two categories of the gopis. Please listen carefully. There are gopis. Gopis are young girls. They are hardly 8 years, 9 years old. Krishna performed his Rāsa līlā when he was 8, 9 years old. And the gopis were little younger than Krishna or same age as Krishna when they enjoyed these beautiful pastimes of Rāsa līlā. And then they continued till Krishna was 11 years old when Krishna left Vrindavan to go to Mathura. So from the age of 8 to 11, Krishna and the gopis, they enjoyed these Rāsa līlā pastimes. But today, Rāsa līlā is happening for the very first time. because today is Sharad Purnima, the first night of the autumn season. It's a full moon night. So these young girls who are hardly 8 or 9 years old, they are divided into two categories, two types of gopis. Nitya Siddhas and Sadhana Siddhas. Now please pay attention. Nitya Siddha gopis are gopis who are eternally with Radha and Krishna. For example, Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, Tunga Vidya Sakhi, Champaklata Sakhi, these Ashta Sakhis, Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, the Ashta Manjaris, Ashta Sakhis, Ashta Manjaris, these are all eternally with Radha and Krishna. They are manifestations of Krishna's internal potency. They are manifestations of the Chid Shakti, the spiritual potency of Krishna. They have never performed any devotional service to attain the spiritual status that they have. They are always like that. They are called Nitya Siddha gopis. They are eternally perfect gopis, always with Radha and Krishna. The second category is Sadhana Siddha gopis. These gopis, they have performed devotional service, bhakti. And by performing bhakti, they have attained the status of dancing with Krishna in the Rāsa līlā, of enjoying loving pastimes with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. They have attained the status. Golok Vrindavan in the sense, the Bhauma Vrindavan, the Gokul Vrindavan on the earth planet. They attained entrance into Krishna's pastimes that happened 5,000 years ago in Dwapar Yuga. They attained the ability to participate in those pastimes because of performance of bhakti. Bhakti means to perform Navavida Bhakti. Bhajanera Madhya Shrestha Navavida Bhakti. Krishna Prema Krishna Dite Dhare Mahashakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, chanting about Krishna, hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, worshipping Krishna. These are all different limbs of devotional service, bhakti. They are called bhakti angas. They are limbs of bhakti. By performing these nicely, these gopis became perfect. So they are called sadhana siddha. Siddha means perfect. And nitya means eternal. So nitya siddha means eternally perfect. They never became perfect. They are always perfect. And sadhana siddha means through practice of devotional service, they became perfect. So one may question, the nitya siddha gopis are also jivas. They are also living entities. And the sadhana siddha gopis are also living entities. So why there is a difference? That some souls are eternally perfect and some souls have to become perfect through practicing bhakti at Bhakti Center, New York. Why so? Why are we not Nitya Siddhas? This question is answered by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his book, Jaiva Dharma, which Srila Prabhupada often encouraged devotees to study. In Jaiva Dharma, Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains that there are two types of souls. There are two types of living entities. The Nitya Siddha and those who are Nitya Baddha. Those who are eternally perfect, like these eternally perfect gopis, and those who are eternally bound. But the eternally conditioned, eternally bound Nitya Baddha souls can become perfect by practicing devotional service, by practicing bhakti. So there are two types of souls, eternally perfect and those who are eternally conditioned by the modes of material nature. Two types of souls. The souls that are eternally perfect, the Nitya Siddhas, they originate in the spiritual world. They have never come to the material world. They have nothing to do with the material world. They eternally exist in the eternally existing spiritual world because they originate from Lord Balaram. Balaramji is the Dham Shakti. He is the Sandhini Shakti of Krishna, which is the internal potency of Krishna, the existential spiritual potency of Krishna through which the whole spiritual world exists. And these Nitya Siddhas, the eternally perfect living entities, they manifest from the body of Baladev, Lord Balaram, in Golok Vrindavan. Whereas we have our origin in Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So when Mahavishnu breathes, these material universes manifest. Mahavishnu glances at the Mahatattva, at the material energy, and through his glance, he impregnates us into this material world. So we originate from Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu breathes in, there is annihilation and everything enters into Mahavishnu. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, three modes of material nature, Kal, which is the material time, and all the jivas. All the jivas. The human beings, animals, plants, demigods, demons, everyone enters into Mahavishnu in an unmanifested state when there is annihilation of the material world with the breathing in of Mahavishnu. And for some time, everything becomes unmanifest. And when Mahavishnu breathes out, then again there is creation. When he breathes in, again there is annihilation. When he breathes out, again there is creation. Now, when there is creation, the jivas get a chance to associate with Krishna and Krishna's pure devotees. If they perform bhakti at that time, while this world is manifest, right? For example, right now it is manifest. If we perform bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, then we will go to Krishna. And we stay there with Krishna forever, never to come back to the material world. But those who do not do enough bhakti or do not do bhakti at all, when Mahavishnu breathes in and everything is destroyed, they go into Mahavishnu again from where they came. And again, when Mahavishnu creates, again there's a chance, opportunity given to the jivas to become perfect. So again and again, we come from Mahavishnu, we go back into Mahavishnu. We come from Mahavishnu, we go back into Mahavishnu. We have never been in the spiritual world. This is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. Because we are Nitya Baddha. But the Nitya Baddha can become Sadhana Siddha. The eternally conditioned souls like us can become perfect. We can also become Siddha, perfect. How? By sadhana. And sadhana means bhakti, limbs, practicing the limbs of bhakti, like chanting Hare Krishna, like hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, taking darshan of Radha Murlidhar, assisting in the service of Radha Murlidhar, making garlands for Radha Murlidhar, making dresses for Radha Murlidhar, offering some nice food, bhoga to Radha Murlidhar, being in devotees, participating in Harinam Sankirtan, participating in the Thursday evening Kirtans at the Bhakti Center. These are all limbs of bhakti. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, hearing spiritual discourses. These are all limbs of bhakti. Sitting and meditating on Radha Murlidhar and Lord Gauranga. That is called Smaranam. So these are all limbs of bhakti. By practicing these limbs of bhakti nicely under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we can also become Siddha, perfect. So there are two types of gopis, the Sadhana Siddhas and the Nitya Siddhas. Nitya Siddhas are like Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, Rupa Manjari, Ananga Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, etc. They are Nitya Siddhas. And now Sadhana Siddhas are also divided into further categories. Please, I hope all of you are with me. The Sadhana Siddhas are also of different categories. These are the gopis, we may say like us. They are souls like us who are not Nitya Siddhas. They are not eternally perfect. They do not originate in the spiritual world. They originate from Lord Vishnu, who is, of course, personality of God, and he is a Purusha avatar. But we have never been in the Paravyam. We have never been in the spiritual sky, in the Vaikuntha planets, because from there no one falls, ever. So we are always conditioned, Nitya Baddhas. But we can also become Siddhas by practice of bhakti. So some of the gopis in the Rāsa līlā are ordinary souls like you and me. But they have entered Rāsa līlā through practice of bhajan. Like Sripad Ayandra Prabhu in Vrindavan, he would say that Srila Prabhupada's potency, Srila Prabhupada's mercy is tremendous. This was in 2010, just before his departure. The life of Sripad Ayandra Prabhu should be studied by all devotees. It's a life of tremendous devotion, dedication, and tremendous spiritual success, gives a lot of inspiration. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu said, who can understand the greatness of our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada? His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, is so powerful. My life is evidence. My life stands testimony to this fact that the mercy of Srila Prabhupada is tremendous. Because in this very life, I went from ballroom dancing to Rāsa dancing. And he said, anyone who assists me in this 24 hours, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtan in Krishna Balram Mandir, they will join me in the Rāsa līlā. And Sripad Ayendra Prabhu departed at night at the time when the Rāsa līlā starts. He entered the eternal pastimes in Golok Vrindavan of Radha and Krishna, the Rāsa līlā. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu, our very own Ayendra Prabhu, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Yes, it is possible to do it in this lifetime if we are sincere. So what are the different types of the sadhana siddha gopis? So there were some gopis in the Rāsa līlā who are sadhana siddhas. Some of them are called Rishi-chari gopis. They were the sages in the Dandakaranya forest where Lord Ramchandra, Shri Sita Devi and Lakshmanji went when they were in exile in the forest. Dandakaranya. Aranya means forest. In the Dandak forest, these rishis were sitting. Now those of you who are second initiated, these rishis were chanting the Gopal mantra. Gopal mantra is given in our Gaudiya tradition when second initiation is given. Those who are second initiated, they know this, the Gopal mantra. It's the sixth mantra that we chant. And in that mantra, Krishna is addressed by three names. One of the names is Gopijana Vallabha. These sages living in the Dandaka forest were chanting the Gopijana Vallabha mantra, this Gopal mantra, where Krishna is addressed as Gopijana Vallabha. So their Ishtadev, their worshipable deity was Krishna, Gopal. And they were worshipping Gopal in Treta Yuga, when Lord Ramchandra was performing his pastimes. For many years, they were worshipping Lord Krishna in the form of Gopijana Vallabha by chanting this mantra. When Lord Ramchandra came to that forest and they had darshan, they realized that the Gopal we have been meditating upon, praying to, has manifested in the form of Lord Ram. So they wanted to become his lovers, conjugal lovers. But Lord Ramchandra is Maryada Purushottam. He teaches the Maryada, the proper etiquette for human beings, for human society. And he's Ek Patni Vrata. He's going to have only one wife, Shri Sita. So these rishis knew that, and they did not express their spiritual desire to Lord Ram that they wanted to become his conjugal lovers in the Madhurya Ras. But Lord Ramchandra understood their heart. And in the next incarnation, when he came as Krishna, these rishis in the forest of Dandaka were reborn in Vrindavan as Vraj Gopis. So some gopis were Rishi-chari gopis. Previously, they had performed bhajan, chanted the Gopal mantra. Second category of sadhana siddha gopis, gopis who became perfect by practicing bhakti, are the Shruti-chari gopis. Shruti-chari gopis are gopis who are personified Vedas. We have to understand, my dear friends, in this material world, we have a very mundane understanding of this world. We think Ganga is a river. We think Yamuna is a river, isn't it? We think sun is just a globe of fiery gas. We think moon is just a dead satellite of the earth planet, isn't it? We think like that. But actually this is not the proper understanding. According to Vedas, according to our Vedic literature, Krishna has created this world. So nothing is impersonal. Even this earth is not just a lump of earth, just a ball of earth that is floating in the space, earth planet. No, actually earth, yes, it is a planet, but it is also the manifestation of a very wonderful Devi, very wonderful devotee of Krishna called Prithvi. Sun is Surya Narayan. He's a personality. Moon is Somadev. He's a personality. Ganga may be a river, but she is a lady called Ganga who has appeared in this world as a river. Similarly, Yamuna is an expansion of Vishakha Sakhi. Vishakha Sakhi appears in Golok Vrindavan, expands herself to serve Radha and Krishna. Vishakha Sakhi as Yamuna. Similarly, Tulsi may appear as a plant, but actually it is Vrinda Devi who is appearing as Tulsi Devi. So, different things, spiritual things that appear as things are actually personalities. So the Vedic literatures may appear as chapters and books and different scriptures, but actually they are a person. Like Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna in the form of a book. Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhusha Vashara. Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. It's a book form of Krishna. Krishna in the form of book is called Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna in the form of sound vibration is Krishna Nam, the name of Krishna. Krishna. Abhinnatva Nama Namino. So similarly, the Vedic literatures are also different ladies who are devotees of Krishna. And many of these gopis are actually Vedas personified. They are called Shrutichari gopis. They also perform bhajan. Then there are gopis who are Deva Kanya. Padma Puran explains Deva Kanya. Or they are called Amara Suta. They are the daughters of the demigods. And who are they? They are actually expansions of the Nitya Siddha gopis, of the eternally perfect gopis. So there are 4 categories of gopis. There are the Gopa Kanya, the Vraj gopis, who are born with Radha and Krishna. They are always with Radha and Krishna. They were with Radha and Krishna, and they came from the spiritual world along with Radha and Krishna. They are the Nitya Siddha gopis. They are mentioned in this verse of Padma Puran as Gopa Kanya. They are the Nitya Siddha gopis, Gopa Kanya. Rishija are the Rishichari gopis who had seen Lord Ramachandra in Treta Yuga, and they had chanted the Gopal mantra, where the word Gopi Jana Vallabha, the name Gopi Jana Vallabha is there. So they are the Sadhana Siddha gopis. Shrutayodneya are the Shrutichari gopis, the Vedas personified who came. They are also Sadhana Siddha. They perform bhakti to attain the status of being Vraj gopis, gopis who are going to participate in the Rāsa līlā with Krishna. And there are the 4th category is Deva Kanya, and this also comes in the Nitya Siddha category. So they appeared as daughters of the different demigods, but actually they are expansions of the Nitya Siddha gopis. They also came to participate in the Rāsa līlā. So in this way, there are the Vraj gopis, the Gopa Kanya, who are the Nitya Siddhas. Eternally they come with Radha and Krishna. There are the Deva Kanyas, who are expansions of this eternally liberated Nitya Siddha gopis. Then in the Sadhana Siddha category, 2 are mentioned. One is the Rishichari gopis, who are the forest dwelling devotees chanting the Gopi Jana Vallabha mantra. And there are the Shrutichari gopis, the personified Vedas, who also attained through bhajan the status of Sadhana Siddha gopis. And then there are other gopis who are ordinary practicing devotees like you and me. They had also taken birth in Gokul, Vrindavan, with Radha and Krishna. And they also wanted to participate tonight in the Rāsa līlā that is about to happen. But they were stopped. Those who had, now I'm going to stop the screen sharing. I was going to read through the purport, but it's a long purport. I'll not be able to do it. So I have already passed the time limit. So in 2 minutes, I will summarize what comes next. So please pay attention. This is very important to understand. So there are the ordinary gopis who practice bhakti like you and me. And by attaining spiritual elevation, they were born as Vraj gopis. But they were also not qualified to participate in the Rāsa līlā yet. So what happened? Many of them associated with the Nitya Siddha gopis like Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari. And they, by associating with the Nitya Siddha gopis, they became completely perfect. They had all gone beyond Anartha Nivritti. They had all gone beyond Anartha Nivritti, and they were on the stages like Nishtha, Asakti. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains these different stages in the progress of a devotee, but they had not reached the platform of Prem. It is mentioned they had reached the stage of Bhav, Asakti and Bhav, which is just before Prem, where you become very elevated devotee. So these sadhana siddha gopis, who were neither Rishichari gopis nor Shrutichari gopis, they were devotees like you and me, who practice bhakti. They attained birth in Vrindavan with Radha Krishna, and they were on the stage of Asakti Bhav, but they had not yet reached Prem. But as children, when they associated with Lalita Sakhi, Vishakha Sakhi, the Nitya Siddha gopis, they became completely pure and they attained the stage of Prem. And they were able to enter the Rāsa līlā tonight. Nobody stopped them. But there was another category of gopis who somehow could not associate with the Nitya Siddha gopis yet when Krishna played the flute. They had not got that fortune of associating with the Nitya Siddha gopis. So they were on the platform of Bhav, but they had not reached the platform of Prem. And they are the gopis who had children through their husbands. And they were stopped in these verses by their husbands, by their father-in-law, mother-in-law. No, you cannot go, you stop here. You wait here, you cannot leave the house. They were stopped. So they are being mentioned and described in this particular verse that we read today. They are the ones who could not go. They closed their eyes because they could not go. They could not find an exit. And they meditated on Krishna in their heart. When they meditated on Krishna in their heart, Kavi Karnapur explains, Krishna manifested there in their heart. That Krishna who was playing the flute at Vamshivat manifested inside their house, in their heart, and he embraced them. When Krishna embraced, when they felt separation from Krishna, closed their eyes and they deeply meditated on Krishna, all their sins, remaining sins, were destroyed. When they experienced Krishna's embrace in their meditation, all their pious credits were destroyed. Because pious credits keep us in this material world to enjoy. Sinful activities keep us in this material world to face punishment. Both were destroyed. Feeling separation from Krishna destroyed their pap, their sins. And experiencing Krishna's embrace in meditation destroyed their punya, their pious, mundane pious credits. And now they became completely purified. And Shri Kavi Karnapur describes something superb. And I will describe that. I will repeat what Kavi Karnapur says and I will end the class. Shri Kavi Karnapur, who is the son of Shivananda Sen, who sucked Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's toe as a child. Shri Kavi Karnapur, he writes that all of us, we conditioned souls, have two bodies. We have this material body with which we do bhakti, correct? With our hand, we pick up our Tulsi Mala and we chant. With our throat, we sing bhajans, kirtans. With our eyes, we read Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. With our hands, we massage Shaligram Shila, we dress Radha Murlidhar, we make flower garlands. With our body, we are doing bhakti. As we do bhakti, a spiritual body is being created and developed. Please listen carefully. As we practice bhakti, our spiritual body is developing. It is growing. It is building up simultaneously while we are living in this material body. As we make spiritual advancement, our material body diminishes. Our material body slowly gets destroyed. And our spiritual body in that proportion gets more and more developed. And there are some devotees like Dhruv Maharaj, example is given. They become such good sadhaks, such good practitioners of bhakti that even their material body gets transformed into complete spiritual body. And they go to Vaikuntha in the same body. Like Tukaram Maharaj went in the same body. Dhruv Maharaj went in the same body. Their material body has become completely spiritualized. For others, we have two bodies, the material body, and the more bhakti we practice with this body, our spiritual body is being developed. What happened to these gopis is, when they were stopped from going, they became completely perfect in their bhakti and their spiritual body became completely perfect. And some of them, because they were stopped, they gave up their material body. And they entered Rāsa līlā in their spiritual body. That is the understanding. And the husbands did not understand this. So when they came back, it was business as usual. But no one realized except Krishna that the material body was destroyed, and now their so-called material body had become completely spiritualized. And that body could not be stopped by the family members. So this is little technical, but it's very beautiful. The point is, with this body, when we perform bhakti, we are developing our spiritual body. And the aim of human life is, in this lifetime, we have to develop our spiritual body so much that we are able to enter the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And even if we are not able to attain perfection, there is hope. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we will take birth in some universe where Krishna Lila, Gaur Lila is taking place. And we will associate with Rupa Manjari or Rupa Goswami or Lalita Sakhi or Swarup Damodar Goswami or Ramananda Rai or Vishakha Sakhi and Gaur Lila, Krishna Lila. By associating with the Nitya Siddhas, we will attain complete perfection of love of God, prem. And then we will, along with Krishna and Radharani, we will go to the spiritual world when the Leela is wound up. So when Krishna came on this earth 5,000 years ago, many practicing bhaktas like you and me appeared, but they were very exalted. And by associating with Nitya Siddhas, they became Sadhana Siddha. They became completely perfect and went to the spiritual world. So that is the message of today's verse. There are a few more things mentioned in the purport, but I could not manage to explain those because of lack of time. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. Excellent class. I'll have to rewatch 5 times probably to digest. A question, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu. So you were describing how our spiritual body is being created, and then Srila Prabhupada in his purports, he states multiple times that bhakti is not an imposition. It's something that is eternally inherent to our nature. So how does that work? Are we creating something, or it's already there?
Yes and no. So Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. It is fact that the soul is an eternal servant of Krishna and bhakti is inherent in our heart. But what type of bhakti? Are we a servant of Krishna? Are we a friend of Krishna? Are we a parent of Krishna? Or are we a conjugal lover of Krishna? That develops based on our guru's teachings, based on the type of bhakti we practice. That spiritual body has been developed. The particular relationship that we have with Krishna. We have a relationship with Krishna in the form of we belong to Krishna and we are Krishna's servants. But specifically what our service is going to be toward Krishna, that has been developed based on our bhajan, based on our bhakti that we are doing now. Is that helpful, Prabhu?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you. Ananda Manjari has her hand up.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for this class. Yeah, I wanted to also ask a question because you mentioned that the gopis or the souls like us, we actually never have been to the spiritual world and we are only like making our way there. Yes. And I want to understand it in the context of the statement that is often said that like we actually turned away from Krishna and fell down.
No, that is not true. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport that no one can fall from Vaikuntha. No one can turn away from Krishna in Vaikuntha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna repeatedly says that Natad bhasyate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam. Once you come to my abode, one cannot fall. So if we were with Krishna, we could not have turned away from Krishna. Think about this. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai andhakar jaha Krishna taha nahi Maya ra adhikar. Where there is Krishna, there is no presence of Maya. So how in the spiritual world, when we are with Radha and Krishna, we will turn away from Krishna? That means we are not pure. So spiritual world is not like that, where anybody falls. Nobody falls from the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada sometimes said things like that because, now please try to understand this. Srila Prabhupada is preaching in the Western world, and the most prevalent religions in the Western world are Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And in these religions, there are stories like allegorical stories like Adam and Eve, or the forbidden apple. I'm not very well versed in this, but those things are there where someone makes a mistake and then falls down or comes into the material sphere. Now, when we hear stories like this, it gives a sense of guilt that it's my fault. I made this mistake. I turned away from Krishna. So now let me worship Krishna. And this type of guilt is very helpful in bhakti. And because the audience that Srila Prabhupada was preaching to were from these backgrounds who had this type of religious understanding, to help their understanding further, Srila Prabhupada sometimes said things like this, that we turned away from Krishna, we were with Krishna. That is for the purpose of preaching, but that is not the Siddhanta. Srila Prabhupada himself writes, I can show you in his purport in the 3rd canto, where Srila Prabhupada says, therefore, the conclusion is, no one ever falls from Vaikuntha. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, and Prabhupada so many times, so many purports I have read, in 7th canto, Srila Prabhupada writes, no one falls from Vaikuntha. But for the sake of preaching, because of the background of the audience, Srila Prabhupada sometimes said like that yeah, we opened the Pandora's box, or whatever, we turned away from Krishna, like that. But the Srila Jiva Goswami writes in the Shad Sandarbha, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in Jaiva Dharma, Srila Prabhupada himself says, the conclusion is no one falls from Vaikuntha. So we were never in Vaikuntha, we were never in Golok Vrindavan, and we didn't fall from there. That is mental speculation.
But how is bhakti our constitutional position then, if we never were there in the first place?
Everything is meant to serve Krishna. There are 3 energies of Krishna. There is the internal potency, marginal potency, and external potency. Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Bahiranga Shakti. Bahiranga Shakti is Maya Devi. She is also servant of Krishna. She is also serving Krishna. And we are Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency. Jivera Swarup hai Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Bheda Bhed Prakash. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that we are Tatastha Shakti of Krishna. Just like Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti are serving Krishna, even Tatastha Shakti is supposed to serve Krishna. Because everything belongs to Krishna.
Yeah.
Aham Sarasa Prabhava Mata Sarvam Pravartate. If everything is coming from Krishna, everything is supposed to serve Krishna.
Okay, yeah, I think I got it. I got it this time. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. We're all marginals. Yeah. Bhima Prabhu. Bhim, where are you?
Haribo, am I broken up, or is it clear?
Yes,
We can hear you.
Yes, okay. Haribo, Ādi Gadādhara, wonderful. I'm spinning here in the field because there was so much sweetness to take in. Excuse me, I'm a little bit out of breath. I had to run to get to the phone. 2 questions. One is, what about Jai and Vijay? Even also they were gatekeepers. Now, of course, they made a choice. Krishna gave them a choice to come and serve. So I guess that answers that, but you can expound on that.
Yes.
But Tulsi, Vrinda, swooned by Krishna, took birth in the spiritual world. I guess this is, as I'm answering my question, so these are pastimes Radharani cursed Vrinda Devi or Tulsi to come to this world to do this līlā. Am I correct? So it's not like they fell, but they were sort of set up in order to enact, in order for Krishna to have some līlā? Is this how we view when they come, when great personalities come and pure devotees come to the material world?
Absolutely, 100% correct. In fact, Srila Prabhupada writes this. When the Jai Vijay pastime is mentioned in the 3rd canto, that's where Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna wanted to enjoy Virya Ras, one of the sub-rasas, 7 sub-rasas, Virya Ras. Krishna wants you to fight. And to fight, he needs someone who is powerful. So Nitya Siddha like Jai and Vijay were sent to fight with Krishna. So Krishna could relish Virya Ras. So Jai and Vijay falling down is a total pastime. It's a complete pastime. It's not anything that they made a mistake or they became proud. And same thing with Vrinda Devi, same thing with Shridham, the brother of Radharani. That story is mentioned, Viraja, but this is all pastime. It's all līlā. Our acharyas have explained this, and Srila Prabhupada also writes that. So thank you.
So, and thank you for, this is a very, or it was at least a controversial subject, and even within my consciousness. So what you're saying, to wit, is not even a leaf falls in Vaikuntha. Is this what you're saying?
Yes, according to Srila Prabhupada, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, according to all the acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, yes. But
So there was never, yep. So there was never a time that we grew envious of Krishna in a moment and said, what about me? And then Krishna says, what about you? And then you find yourself here. Like Brahma, you know, Brahma comes in order to become a god of a universe. He comes down and he's left to commit to perform tapasya in order so that he can create. Now, so Brahma is, so do we all begin as Brahma and then slowly become more and more entangled as if in a spider's web in material nature until pretty soon we're the spider itself? Is that it, that we all start as Brahma wanting to be God and then we become a master? Do we, you know, I'm trying to understand this descending and ascension. You know, how do we find ourselves, if not, because we see it today, we even see it today in the atheist class, there's an actual active, it's not just I don't believe, but there's an actual active envy or anger or vitriol towards God and everything divine and innocent and beautiful. They're actively inimical to the all things divine.
Let's
how
pause
are we
for
supposed to
darshan.
understand that?
Let's pause for
Haribol.
darshan, please, and then
Okay,
we'll
Haribol.
answer that. Thank you.
Please.
Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Tami Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Tami Eno Manvamba Maravindaya Tatam Bhagavatam Samasvikam Buddha-sundaram Tattandar Atoti-kamaniya Vishesha-shobham Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Anjani Yasya Sakale Priya Priti Mansi Satyan Nikam Nikaryanti Siram Jaganti Ananda Chimaya Sadhu Saladikya Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Angel, can you get the guitar? Okay.
All right, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, do you have a few minutes to stay with us?
I do, Prabhu, please.
Okay. Okay, could you summarize Bhima Prabhu's question and address it?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, yes, Bhima Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, so what Bhima Prabhu was saying is that, which is true, that nobody falls from Vaikuntha, as Krishna many times says in Bhagavad Gita. There are at least 4 or 5 verses in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in a letter and Srila Prabhupada in a purport in the 9th canto say that when a jiva enters the material world, first becomes a Brahma. So that point of Bhima Prabhu is supported by Srila Prabhupada in a 9th canto purport and by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in a letter to a disciple. So yes, that is there. Yes, Bhima Prabhu, you were saying something.
So when we enter the material world, we become Brahma. But what's our previous destiny? What's our previous state? Where in the spiritual world were we before that, before becoming a Brahma?
So according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma, we were never in Vaikuntha. We were never in the spiritual world. We originate from the Tatastha Shakti of Krishna and we manifest from Sankarshan. We manifest from Mahavishnu, not in the Vaikuntha. We have never been in Vaikuntha. Now this is a very controversial topic, but
you started it. You started it.
maybe we should just. But see, if you see any sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, even Gaudiya Sampradaya, you see Gaudiya Mat, you see any Acharya, no one says that we fell from Vaikuntha or we were in Vaikuntha. Nowhere, in no Sampradaya.
So we enter the material world from the marginal world, so to say, from Tatashta.
So yes, because Mahavishnu, so to say, is neither in the spiritual world nor in the material world. Mahavishnu is there in the causal ocean and he creates the material world, but Mahavishnu himself is completely spiritual. He is the personality of Godhead. So that's our origin. We originate from God in the form of Purusha Avatar, Mahavishnu. But we were never in the līlā of Vaikuntha, ever. But we can go there because by nature we are Tatastha Shakti, that belong. So Tatastha Shakti means we are at the margin. So we can either take shelter of the external energy or internal energy. Right now we are in the external energy, but we can choose to go to the internal energy.
Thank you, Ādi Gadādhara. I'm sorry that you had to deal with it, but it's nice to clear things up, and we feel you're qualified to really sort it out for us. Bhima, you had a follow-up?
So last question, simply for curiosity's sake. So I remember very slightly that the on our way back to Godhead, let us say that we are being taken back to Godhead. Is it true, as in the Bhagavatamrita, that we pass by all the heavenly planets, we even pass by Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, and that if we have an inclination for any of these lokas that are not quite Vaikuntha or obviously Goloka, that we will sort of be dropped off there. That if we have one inclination to become Brahma again, if we have any inclination to enjoy being a creator or a siddha in this world, that we're dropped off, so to speak.
That is true, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada says like that. And but a pure devotee who has attained pure devotion in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami will never accept any such allurements. So yeah, that is there. That choice we always have as long as we are in the material world to become a controller here. But a sincere devotee will never accept. Like Vritrasur Maharaj prays in the 6th canto, Nanaka prishtham, na chaparyamishtham, na sarvabhaumam, na rasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhira punarbhavam va samanjasatve virahaya kamshe. Or like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur plays, what is that? Na yoga siddhir namamastu moksho vaikuntha loke pina parshadatvam prema pinas aditi chetaram tu mamastu vrindavana eva vasa. I only want Vrindavan vas. I don't want Yog Siddhi, I don't want elevation to the heavenly planets, nothing. So a sincere devotee repeats these prayers in the sadhaka avastha as we are practicing bhakti. And when if those allurements are given, a sadhak always refuses them. I only want Krishna and Radharani. That's all. I want to be where my Guru Maharaj is. I don't want to be in this material world. So is that okay, Prabhu? Bhima Prabhu?
So basically, I should create sort of like a team jersey, and on the back of it, have it say Nitya Bhadas, and I would be like the first one on the team, right? The Nitya Bhadas, you know, I could be like the star.
But you should write that I want to be a sadhana siddha.
We'll play the sadhana siddhas in the We'll beat you too, because I know you're going to be on the other team.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's take one more. Darshini, followed by Ādi. I see Ādi's tempted to speak.
Hare Krishna. We only want to say what we feel Krishna is inspiring us to say. Please pray that that's correct. This is a very complex issue about whether we can fall to the material world or whether we've always been here. And they're writing all kinds of treatises about this. And since it's a complex issue, sometimes in the West we're thinking it's either this way or that way. It's either this way or that way. Dhanadhar Maharaj was saying he was stopping in a toll booth because he had been driving and he wasn't sure where he was. And he said to the toll man, "I think I'm lost." And the man said, "Either you're lost or you're not lost." You know, that's the way we think in the West, you know. But in a subtler and more appropriate and complete way, we say, in one sense, we've never fallen, nobody can fall. And in another sense, Krishna never takes away our free will. We can't say that the people in the spiritual world have no free will to choose to leave. Otherwise, there's no love. It's just a prison. So in one sense, no one falls from the spiritual world. I mean, what am I thinking? What was I thinking to have left a perfect situation like that? But in another sense, Krishna does allow us a choice, and it's possible to come down. At least that's what I've heard from Prabhupada. So it's an in one sense answer. It's not just, it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way. So, you know, it's true. Nobody in their right mind would leave. But Krishna allows that, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me. Of course, Prabhupada.
No, yes. Prabhupada always says that, I have also read this, that the free will is always there, because without expression of free will, how can love express itself? At the same time, Srila Prabhupada says that why would anyone want to leave Radha and Krishna and come? So, Hare Krishna.
Okay, all glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Wonderful class.
Okay, one more. Darshini.
I have one. Okay.
Are you Darshini?
Yes,
No. Yes.
Oh.
Go ahead, Darshini.
Or do I not?
Yeah, we can hear you, Darshini. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I just had a small question. Since you mentioned that as we are performing our sadhana, our spiritual body is being created, but also in one verse of the Bhagavatam, in the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's written that even liberated souls also develop love for Radha and Krishna when they hear Bhagavatam. So, for liberated souls, if someone is in Vaikuntha and they already have a spiritual body, and if they aspire to go to Golok Vrindavan from there, is there a change of spiritual body?
No. So the verse that you are referring to, Atma Ramasya Munayo, it is mentioned that those who are Brahmavadis, they are also attracted to Radha and Krishna. And the example is given of Shukdev Goswami. He was Brahman realized first, but after hearing the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, he got attracted to Vrindavan, Leela of Radha and Krishna. Another example is the Chatush Kumar, the 4 Kumaras. They were also attached to the impersonal Brahman. But when they smelled the fragrance of Tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of Lord Narayan, they got attracted to Bhakti. So that is the context where someone can be upgraded from the Brahman realization platform to Bhakti. Someone who has Jnana Adhikar can get Prem Adhikar, as we were discussing last night. So that is what it means. But in Vaikuntha, if someone is serving form of the Godhead. For example, Hanumanji is serving in Ayodhya, eternal Ayodhya, Sita and Ram. Hanumanji will never develop a desire to enter the Ras Leela because he is completely perfected in his Dasya Bhav to Sita and Ram. That ananyata, that one-pointedness is there in Vaikuntha. So that is not possible, that someone in Vaikuntha will think that, no, I want to change my body now, I want to go to Golok Vrindavan. That is not possible, because once attain a certain relationship with a personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha, one is completely satisfied in that service, in that role, in that spiritual body. Is that okay, Darshini Mataji? Does that help?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wow, Ādi Gadādhara Prabhu, we're so fortunate to have you. I see Ananda Manjari has her hand up. Ananda Manjari, let's keep it very, very brief. It's 8:19.
I know, I'm sorry. I just want to add, because this is similar to the previous question, and I just wanted to kind of ask about the point of us almost creating our relationship with Krishna, or the specific service that we are doing through our sadhana. And I just want to compare that or contrast it with what I've just recently read about Srinivasacharya and Narottam Das Thakur, when both of them already, like when they were practicing, they already had revealed their services in the spiritual world. And then like Srinivasacharya was even like boiling milk for Srimati Radharani, who herself gave him the service, and then started practicing it in his like so-called material pastimes. So can you just like speak to that a little bit?
Hare Krishna. This is so sweet. Yes, as we practice bhakti under the guidance of our Guru Maharaj, the bhajan pranali that has been given to us, the method of bhajan that has been given to us by our Guru in our parampara, in our line, our spiritual body develops. Somebody in the Sri Sampradaya is worshipping Lord Ramchandra under the guidance of Shripada Ramanujacharya, will develop a Ayodhya Swarup. But we, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, worshipping in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we Aradhya Bhagwan Vrajesha Tanayas. We are completely steeped in Vraj Bhakti, in Vrindavan, in Radha and Krishna Upasana, service to Radha and Krishna. So our body is slowly revealed to us. And there are 11 characteristics of our spiritual body. What is our name? What is our gender? What is our form? What clothes we wear? What service we perform? Which village we are from? All this is called Dwadasha. This is called Ekadash Bhav. 11 characteristics of our spiritual body. And one by one, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, these characteristics are revealed. And devotees like Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, they were completely perfected devotees, and they knew their Siddha Swarup, they knew their spiritual body, and therefore in their meditation they would enter their spiritual body and perform seva to Radha and Krishna. So did Raghunath Das Goswami, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells him that Mane Radha Krishna Vraja Sevibe. In your mind you serve Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami in his eternal body as Rati Manjari would serve Radha and Krishna under the guidance of Rupa Manjari. So this is very, very beautiful. This is internal. A sadhak never reveals this, but slowly by the mercy of Guru, the body, spiritual body is revealed and our services are revealed. And while in this world, we can perform those practices and thereby strengthening our spiritual body more and more until we realize it completely. Is that okay? Ananda Manjari Mataji?